ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله. Brothers and sisters, we're told in hadith that when you go for ziyarah of Rasulullah, the first thing you should say is Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You say that 3 times. Why do we say Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un 3 times? Because when we have a great musibah that comes to us, a great tragedy, a great conflict, a great difficulty, then we turn to Allah and we say that, oh Allah, it's from you that we originate and it is to you we return. We're told that when we go to Rasulullah, we should say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. أصبنا بك يا حبيب قلوبنا فما أعظم المصيبة حيث فقد انقطع عنا والوحي وحيث فقدناك. Meaning that what a great musibah it was when you left us and the divine revelation was cut off and you were no longer in our presence. Rasulullah was very great. Rasulullah was magnificent. His presence among the people was like the sun. Without him, it was like darkness. What sort of difficulties there were for Rasulullah towards the end. How he saw the people in front of his own eyes, they began to disobey him. We're told that there was one time when Rasulullah wanted to write something for the people, after which they would never go astray. And so Rasulullah, when all of them are gathered in his home, he says that bring me some pen and a paper so that I can write for you something after which you will not be deviated and you will not be misguided. And rather than listening to Rasulullah, one amongst them stands up and he cries out, Inna rajula la yahjur. This man is just saying nonsense things. What does it mean for him to write something at this time? And Rasulullah realized that even if he were to write something, they would question him. This is Rasulullah, and they would question him and say that even what he is writing is no longer valid. So he just abandoned the idea of writing it down for them. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in those last times, in those last moments, he was between consciousness and between sickness, and sometimes he'd be awake, sometimes he'd be asleep. But we know that his dear family members were gathered near him at that time. We're told that at one time Rasulullah receives a special visitor. Who is it that's visiting Rasulullah? It is Jibreel alayhi salam. Jibreel alayhi salam is telling him, Ya Rasulullah, I have come to inform you that Malikul Maut is seeking permission to come and speak with you. Never before has Malikul Maut, has the angel of death asked permission to see anyone, and never again will he ask permission to see anyone, but for you he is asking permission to enter upon you. Rasulullah gives him permission to enter upon him. When Malikul Maut comes to Rasulullah, he says to him that Allah has sent me and he has told me to obey you, Ya Rasulullah. If you give permission, I will take your soul and you will meet Allah. But if you say no, then I will retreat and I will not take your soul. Rasulullah asks him, O Malikul Maut, is what you're saying true, that you will obey my command? And he says that yes indeed, you command me and I will obey. Jibreel alayhi salam tells him, Ya Rasulullah, Allah mushtaqun ila liqa'ik. Allah is desiring to meet you. Rasulullah tells Malikul Maut, and then in that case I give you permission to take my soul. Jibreel alayhi salam says to him, Ya Rasulullah, after this I will no longer come on the earth because you are the only reason that I desire to come to the earth. But with your departure, I have no more desire or reason to come and visit this earth.
Rasulullah is gathered with his near ones. One of them is Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra alayha salam. Fatima alayhi salam is trying to console herself. She is reminding herself of the greatness of Rasulullah, and she is quoting some poetry of Abu Talib alayhi salam regarding the merits of Rasulullah. And then Rasulullah hears her and he says to her, "Oh Fatima, it would be better if instead that you were to quote the ayah of the Quran, وَمَا مُحَمَّدٌ إِلَّا رَسُولٌ قَدْ خَلَتْ مِنْ قَبْلِهِ الرُّسُلُ أَفَإِنْ مَاتَ أَوْ قُتِلَ انْقَلَبْتُمْ عَلَىٰ أَعْقَابِكُمْ." That this is the Prophet Muhammad is a messenger of Allah, and before him there have been those who have passed. He too will pass. If he passes, then are you going to turn away and go backwards and reject all that he has taught you? Is this what you're going to do? Fatima alayhi salam cannot contain her grief. She is seeing her beloved father in front of her own eyes, suffering so much because she knows what they are going to do to him, to his family. After he leaves this world, Rasulullah calls her near to him. And those around see that Fatima alayhi salam, for a moment, her grief lifts. It's as if a smile comes to her face. Later on they ask her, they say, "Oh Fatima, why is it that we saw that you were crying and then for a moment it seems that you were smiling?" She says that my dear father told me, and he told me that after me, "Oh Fatima, you will be the first amongst my family to leave this world and you will be reunited with me." And the thought of being reunited with Rasulullah was enough to give me that happiness. And then